Ladies and gentlemen, over the test of time, everything, it seems, can potentially have much higher moves in value. I find it interesting. One of the funniest lines that I have seen from the X-Men movie that still resonate with me to this day is what they say is when you have, for example, and I'm paraphrasing, a $10 watch, bury it in the sand and dig it out 2,000 years later and you have a priceless relic. The COVID crisis has created one of the most unique opportunities in investing. A lot of people thought I was crazy when, on November 16th, I did call for Tesla to get to $600. People thought I was off my rocker, talking about a multi-hundred billion dollar company going up 50% in value. It did so in 9 days. Before that, during the height of the COVID crisis, when Tesla pre-split was down to $550, I called for a $1,250 target on Tesla. People also thought I was off my rocker, looking for Tesla to move well over 100%. That came by shortly as well. When it comes to unique things in collectibles, there are connoisseurs from around the world. Take fine art. Anytime you hear fine art, you think of the mega wealthy people owning things like Rembrandt, Picasso, and all the other infinitely famous artists out there, Miro, Chagall. However, there are other things that people are collecting, things that are also breaking into the world similar to fine art. We're going to talk about some of those things today. I'm going to unveil my number one prediction for 2021. It is an investment in which I plan on continuing to buy from this point forward, and I've already moved a large sum of money into this actual investment. I plan on really describing it to you because I feel it's a very unique thing that can create a very unique opportunity. And before I go on and start telling you about the world I'm going to delve into, I need you guys to read this disclaimer and just basically saying that you are 100% responsible for anything that you touch. Anything could be worth zero tomorrow, etc. So that is my disclaimer to you and where I'm coming from. Okay. I also want to point out to you guys watching, with us here in the Newsbeat live community at T3 Live, YouTube, and Facebook, that I rarely come out with high conviction ideas. I tend to be a lot more modest. To get something high conviction out of me is rarer than pulling teeth because it just almost never happens. This, I'm going to tell you right now, is the best idea I've ever had in my life, in my opinion. For myself and the way I'm thinking about it, let's just put it this way: this is my highest conviction idea. And we're going to talk a little about that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you into the world of trading cards because I really feel I'm sharing some of my own due diligence with you. Of course, on the disclaimer, you must perform your own due diligence before considering anything. Don't take my word for anything I say. I think a perfect example in the trading card world is really what I like to call, and what others in the community refer to as the big three. And that is, of course, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And you might be listening to this thinking, what is the big deal about some of these, what is the big deal about some of these things that you're bringing up here? Well, like very few people know that, you know, there was a record right over here that a Pokemon first edition booster box on November 19th of this year, about approximately a little less than a month ago, sold for $360,000 at a US auction. So all you girls out there who are looking at those nerdy kids at the lunch table playing cards, those are today's new age multi-millionaires for those people who are able to hold those cards. Now you might be thinking, how on earth can anybody spend $360,000 for a sealed box of cards. For some of you watching right now, you know, you might know me from somebody who's trading Tesla all day, and I was trading, tons of Disney on Friday. And you might know me as sort of, more of the guru personality and whatnot. And you're looking at this saying, what's the difference between this and a stock and fine art and things like that, and maybe even crypto if you're, making some form of comparison. The beautiful thing about this is that it is extremely rare. And the product I'm going to talk about today is also extremely rare in today's day and age. And for myself personally, I feel it is at a phenomenal, attractive price point. I'm going to also share with you my opinions on the stock. Again, after reading the disclaimer, I am going to share my price targets, that I am putting on these stocks. And on these stocks, on this trading card game, in which I plan on discussing with you guys. So it's not really crazy to think how much these things actually go in value. I even want to bring up, in the Magic the Gathering world, for those, nerds who like that game, like myself. Um, I want to talk about an Alpha Black Lotus that literally sold. This is, back in, 28, this is from 2019, this article, but in July of 2018, a Black Lotus sold for $166,000. Now, some of you might be looking at that and saying, oh my God, who is crazy enough to sell, who is crazy enough to pay that much for an Alpha Black Lotus? But the truth is, if you were able to get it for that price today, it would be one of the it would be one of the greatest investments, in my opinion, that you'd ever walk into. Just going literally live to eBay today, and in all fairness, these things are being up for sale. These things are being shown. But right now, an Alpha Black Lotus that is graded, which is very big in the graded community. If you know, certain stocks that we're talking about that did the PSA grading were literally purchased out recently, that even grading cards are actually becoming, it was always a thing, and people are paying a lot more attention to it now. So right now, if you wanted to touch an Alpha Black Lotus, which by no means has the highest grade, I mean, just these are on a 1 to 10 scale here, definitely missed out. I could only imagine what a perfect 10 Black Lotus would sell for. It'd pretty much be at the owner's discretion. My opinion is there's no way a card like that, if it does exist, which it likely doesn't, would be worth anywhere below like 40, 50 million dollars if you had something graded just slightly better than this per se would be, obviously, one population if somebody did come out with that. So what we are seeing here is we are seeing cards like this go for exorbitant prices, and these are just literally the loose cards. Um, so I showed you some Magic the Gathering, I showed you some Pokemon, and I would be remiss if I did not share with you just a little bit of the Pokemon. And if you, not the Pokemon, excuse me, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if you didn't know, right now there's Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that are selling for, exorbitant prices. I mean, even things like on eBay right now, if you go for, um, the Legend of Blue Eyes, the Blue Eyes White Dragon box sets from Yu-Gi-Oh, and you can see they're protected in acrylic, and people, they show their their cards next to it so nobody, even steals their picture. It's a very big world with a lot of money in it right now, and you could just clearly see it, you know. Obviously, these are things being up there, but I'll tell you, their values probably, in my opinion, aren't too far off. They aren't too far off. And people are paying exorbitant amounts of money. And keep in mind, these are the same booster boxes which were selling for whatever, 60, 70, 80, 90 bucks, depending on who was selling it at what time. And I will tell you right now, for example, I own an alpha starter deck from Magic the Gathering. And, people might say, well, okay, well, what is that? Well, at the time, these alpha starter decks, literally had a price tag. I think it was, 795, I think was the base, price tag, on this stuff. So when I remember when Alpha back in the day, I remember Alpha Starter Deck, somebody was selling it for like $150. And we were kids back then, it was back in, I believe it was 94 at this point. It came out in 93. I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, whoa, I was so mind blown that something like that could cost $150. And then over the years, just watching it always, it was like a non-ending psychological toxic FOMO cycle where you saw it go from like 150 and now all of a sudden it's like three, 400. If you could find it, even if you knew where to find it, it was three, $400. And then all of a sudden $500 and then no way. And then, oh my God, it hit $1,000 and it was just one of the most mind-blowing things that you could ever imagine. As at least for me at the time, it's like $1,000 for a pack of cards. That's the stupidest thing ever. No way is something like this going to go up. I love the game. I love the product. I enjoy the game. It's a big part of my childhood. No way is this stupid pack of cards worth $1,000. And then it went to 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. That was it. Forget it. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. And if you wanted to buy the only alpha starter deck, and again, you could go around and do your due diligence. Maybe you'll find it cheaper. Maybe you personally won't, depending on how far deep you are within the trading card industry. The only one listed on eBay right now is for $78,398.88. It's basically a $78,000 product. And these things just keep going up and they don't stop, which is why I feel it's important to be at a point where you could see something sort of working and get in as the momentum is behind you. And that's exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is a certain type of product. There's three products I'm going to be talking about from this company, from that I believe could be one of the biggest disruptors in the entire industry. I humbly believe it's going to be the big four. Like there's a big three card games, it's Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. I believe we have a perfect storm to make this thing the fourth. And I'm going to delve into it and show you the product. But I just want to talk about what creates this perfect storm. And I'm going to talk about sort of famous personalities in the industry who talk about it. And then I'm going to show you the products as long as sharing with you where I feel they're going to be trading at or selling at potentially, of course. Again, read the disclaimer. Between 12 and 36 months from now, I have a 12-month target that I'm sharing with you and a 24 to 36-month target. So I'll be sharing with you two of my price targets on this. I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you have been reaching out to me asking me, Mark, what do you like? Especially after the two Tesla calls we had. I believe we had two of the best Tesla calls in the entire industry. Analysts were only coming out sometimes a week after we came out with these price targets, after it ran hundreds of points, and they come out and, that's when they share their 2 cents. I really feel I'm early on this, and that's, I think, a very important part about what I'm going to get to as well. I feel that I'm very early and I'm disclosing it to you guys in a very healthy stage right now. So let's talk about the perfect storm. And I'm not going to delve into the numbers and everything, but I'll bring up I'll big up I'll bring up big letter T words, for example, and we're going to be talking about the word trillion. And right now we are in an environment of COVID where the government and the U.S. government is printing trillions of dollars. And one thing that you have to notice about everything, stocks, crypto, trading cards game, fine art, wine, your bills, everything, it's all priced in US dollars. And the beautiful thing about what I'm talking about here are these things are never going to be created again. That's it. There's only one time in which these things were ever created, and that's it. In terms of US dollars, whether you own a $100 bill from today or a $100 bill from 10 years ago, there's no real value difference between those $200 bills. So we are in an environment where the government is printing trillions of dollars to try to supplement the people working from home. God forbid you lost your business during this hard time. I feel for you. I love you. We give to so many charities here. I think the Newsbeat live room, how many charities would you guys say we donated to this year? Donated to this year? Easily over 100, right? Like it was just, we give so much to charity and everything. We try to do so much good for the community, but at the same time, we have to be able to take advantage of the opportunities around us so that we may not only support ourselves, but also give back to the community in a much more, aggressive fashion. So between the perfect storm of COVID, people not really being able to hang out as much to play these card games with each other, and that's of course in my and that's another thing I'm going to branch into, because with the vaccines coming out and everything, people are going to be gathering together again. We're not going to be sitting, socially distanced forever. So with all those things coming up and the success of this game right now, and the way that I'm looking at the global supply issues and all the websites and the top websites who sell these products, I again feel like this is going to be the number four. So next, I'm just going to share with you this real quick. He's one of the more famous motivational speakers out there, Gary V, Gary Vaynerchuk. And basically, what he's talking about is he's talking about cards. The top 5% of vintage and rare cards will go through a transformation that's similar to contemporary art's transformation over the last half century. And it's a very interesting thing that he wrote. He wrote this literally 4 months ago, and he couldn't have been more correct so far. If you've actually seen the price of some of these cards and whatever, and how they've moved over the past 4 months, it's been absolutely phenomenal. So there's that. There's also a guy, Rudy from Alpha Investing, who a lot of the people in the card world are big fans of. He, talks a lot about the financial values and implications and things that are happening within the trading card world. And he talks a lot about this game as well. So before you go crazy, keep in mind there are several products at this I'm going to share with you now. But just before anything else, I do want to remind you of my disclaimer again, and I also want to show you whoa, what happened to my webcam? Okay, should zoom in soon. Good. Okay. I do want to show you some of the big companies in which are selling these products as well. So I am talking about the new classic trading card game, Flesh and Blood. It's a relatively new game compared to, obviously the big three. And you could just literally, if you go to their website, it's FABTCG, which is Flesh and Blood Trading Card Game. It's 6 letters, like Foxtrot Alpha Bravo Tango Charlie Golf.com. It's FABTCG.com, and they just made a partnership with the world's leading trading card game. And this is actually one of the big things of what I like about it. So if you literally go to channel Fireball, this is at least according to this, the world's leading trading card game website. So I have no reason to disagree. And the beautiful thing about this, I'm just going to move my mug down here for a second. The beautiful thing is you'll realize they're only showing 3 games. They almost cycled out Yu-Gi-Oh! So they have Magic the Gathering, which is by far number one in popularity. If you literally look up with Magic the Gathering Arena, I think they're projecting, over 100 million Magic the Gathering players by like 2025, certain analysts. But again, do your own due diligence. Don't take my word for it. So this is a real thing that people are doing. And the beautiful thing is, besides for Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, which we just spoke about, you'll notice that literally ahead of Pokemon is Flesh and Blood. And this is no alphabetical order. They have Home, Magic the Gathering, and just the placement of Flesh and Blood to the left of Pokemon psychologically is a very big deal. The fact that you actually have this game, and I want to point out there are dozens and dozens and dozens of card games that have failed. I am thinking that this is not going to be the one. This is going to be the one that goes to the next level. I just want to point out that there was never a card game that I've ever really believed in other than Magic the Gathering, besides for this one right now. So I do want to point this out here. And if you go to Flesh and Blood right here, and you're, for example, interested in, buying something right now, they have the unlimited booster boxes, but that's not what I am after right now. I'm actually after something else. I do think these will go up in value eventually, but I am actually after the alpha or the first edition. They could be used synonymously, the alpha or the first edition boxes. And I'm going to show you exactly the ones that I am going for right here. And we're going to start off with right over here. I'm going to talk about Flesh and Blood, and we're going to talk about Welcome to Wrath. I don't know, some people call it Wraith. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of an old school nerd. If you want to spell Wraith, it's Wraith. It's not Wraith, okay? A Wraith is that ghouly figure which drains your life force. This is Wrath. Just thought I would be adamant on giving my pronunciation for that. And if you disagree with me, maybe you're right. Who knows? Let's take a look. All right. So we have Welcome to Wrath here. We're talking about the Alpha and First Edition booster box. I'm putting a 12-month price target on this thing of an individual booster box, $3,250. And I'm putting a 24 to 36-month price target at $16,500. I'm going to show you the other products as well, but I just want to explain myself really quickly. Why would you give a year? Because a year is a long time, right? only so we're only on this earth for so long. Why would you give a 24 to 36-month thing? Because I think this is going to have to be based on further execution of the game. I think the CEO of the company has executed flawlessly in this environment, and I think they're going to be doing a lot more things with the card game. To me, that's practically inevitable. But depending on how they execute going forward, I do think we're going to get to that price target inevitably. But if he executes in a certain way and given the environment and things outside of the company's control, I think it could be a $16,500 booster box. And and I know what some of you guys are saying. You probably, a lot of you guys who watch me call Tesla and Tesla's move when it was already beaten down, not just going through all-time highs, probably thought I was crazy as well. But I do want to say that according to people whom I have deep respect for, who I speak to, they think that only 22,000 of these are actually made. Only 22,000 of these products are actually out there. So I just want to also show you on eBay what these products look like right now. Kind of crazy. Here's one of the cards from the game right now selling for, I mean, you could probably get it cheaper than this, but this person happens to be asking 12,500 at the moment. And I just really want to show you what a Flesh and Blood sealed alpha booster box looks like. So we'll go to lowest first. And I do want to point out, like, you'll see them right here on eBay. They'll say alpha right over here. Right now, there's 2 hours left on this one right here. Somebody's bidding 890. You have one here, 1400 or best offer. For me personally, right now, I mean, again, I have been buying a lot, and I just want to show you sort of the size, just in case you're a little bit scared of holding this. So this is right here. This is Welcome to Wrath booster case. Inside this case, there are 4 boxes, and just to give you, I'm putting my hands here just to give you sort of like an idea of how big this is. This is actually 4 booster boxes. So what you're seeing there is probably slightly less than a fourth of this size because there's a cardboard box around it that is obviously not part of the game. And this is what one of the actual booster boxes look like. And of course, there's a seal on it and everything. That's a booster case, excuse me, which has 4 booster boxes, but this is what the booster box actually looks like. And what you'll notice is there's a couple of them. There's Welcome to Wrath, and there's a couple others. I'm just going to show you the others real quick before I get into them. So this is the first one they've ever made. This is the first product that this is the first product that they've ever actually made. Right over here, and there's a 12-month target of 3250 and a 24 to 36-month target of 16,500. So yes, I am talking about a $16,500 price target on one of these that are selling today. Just so we're clear, not the actual case. The case I think will be worth a slight premium higher than 4 times that, but I'm not going to delve into box mapping and things along those lines right now. But I think, again, I know some of you are probably watching saying that's crazy. Again, according to sources in which I respect, I'm hearing that there are only 22,000 of these boxes in circulation. And you have to stop and think how many of them were open, and the answer is probably the majority of them. So you're dealing with an extremely highly sought after rare product. And then I'm going to talk about also the growing community and why I think these price targets might be even modest. The second product is the Alpha First Edition of Arcane Rising. I have a 12-month price target per box of $1,200 and a 24 to 36-month target of $7,500 just for a single booster box. Their latest expansion, which is only currently available on Alpha First Edition, is Crucible of War. These things, and I'm going to show you where they're selling on eBay. I'm also going to show you another place to potentially buy them, and you could contact your local stores, especially, look, if you live in like BF Egypt, for example, and you're like, and there's one of those little card stores going around, they also sell cigarettes and candy because they're just trying to keep the lights on. You might walk into like a blessing of these products cheap. I mean, you always hear those stories on the internet, like, oh, storage wars, and they open up and they pull out like, something worth hundreds of thousands of dollars from like a $200 purchase of a sealed locker in a storage unit. But again, with Crucible of War, I'm putting a $500 target in a year on a single booster box and $2,500 target in 36 months, 24 to 36 months on that same single booster box. So I'm going to show you right now places in which they have available. I'm sure there's a ton of other places. You could go to other websites, especially if I know we have listeners across the world. I know we have listeners and we have people from all over the world in the Newsbeat live service here, with the exception of Antarctica. I think that's the only continent who we don't have anybody in from. So check out your local gaming stores wherever you are. I'm just showing you what I see right now. So the first one I shared with you was right over here. It was Welcome to Wrath. And we are talking about a booster box from Welcome to Wrath. This was the first one ever made. This is always going to be highly sought after. I think this will always be one of the more highly sought after things. And look, some of them are not cheap. I mean, you have 62 bids on an item right here with 18 hours left. You could see right here, people selling some of these products for like $1,400. Oh, they disappeared already. Lovely. Okay. You do definitely see, people trying to bid and get, access to these products right now. Personally, I am still looking to accumulate my position. I'm nowhere near the position I want to be, but I have been spending large amount of monies. I will disclose to you guys right now that I do own over 100. I will be, I made an order in which I'll be receiving, but I will be owning over 100 of them, by probably tomorrow or day after. But I continue to be a buyer. I would like to get to a point where I'm a 1% owner of all these boxes. And you might just say, like, owner of all these boxes, that sounds crazy. But just to give you a little of mathematical perspective here, if this number is true and there's 22,000 out there and you multiply this by zero point zero 0.01, you just need to own 220 boxes to be a 1% owner of the entire circulation of these boxes that will and have ever existed potentially. So think of it sort of like that. This is an extremely scarce product. It's blowing up like crazy. It literally is the first time that I've ever seen a perfect storm. And right here is the Flesh and Blood Sealed Alpha Booster Box. I also want to talk about Arcane Rising. Arcane Rising booster box. This is the other one I was talking about right over here. Arcane Rising. I think these booster box 12-month target $1,200, 24 to 36-month price target $7,500 for these boxes. And of course, it will come down to execution. I do want to point out this is an unlimited box here. This is not. I do think these will go up in value. And I want to highlight that. The trick is, I'm telling you right now, the trick for these boxes, for me personally, you could do whatever you want. You could use them as toilet paper. I don't care. I don't care what you use them for. You could, fold them up into paper airplanes and try to throw them at your neighbor's face and try to land it inside their ear. You could do whatever you want with this. But for me personally, you don't open this product. You leave it sealed. The sealed product is what really retains the value over time. And if you want the best chance of maximizing its value, for me, just again, do your own due diligence. I would not open this product in a million years. There are people who will do that for you. And the more of these products that are open, think of it like this, the more scarce your sealed product happens to be. Every time somebody tears open one of these boxes, that's it. It's over. I'm also going to show you other places to buy it after eBay here. Some of the services that I like, if you are interested in just looking at it, you don't have to buy it. But right over here is Arcane Rising. Arcane Rising is right over here. You have like first edition Arcane Rising. Um, beautiful, beautiful box and everything. And again, I am putting a price target, 12-month price target on this box of $1,200. I do want to mention, as crazy as some of you might be looking, ask anybody in the Newsbeat live room. I'm very modest with my price targets. And I do want to point out, as crazy as some things may look to you, I'm actually approaching this in my head, for better or for worse. You read the disclaimers, modestly. Okay. So right over here is the Arcane Rising. You have to buy, well, you don't have to buy anything, but if you're trying to buy what I'm talking about, it's only the first edition, which is equivalent to alpha. It'll either say alpha or first edition. For me personally, you want to have fun, you want to play the game, you want to open it up and check it out, rip open an unlimited box. It's much cheaper. I do think these things are going to explode in value as well, just not going to be highly sought after based on an unknown print run. The scarcity of an unlimited product is not going to be as scarce as an alpha product. So I do want to point that out. And last is Crucible of War. Right now, there is no unlimited product for this. It's only in first edition alpha. And right now, right now you could scoop these up, you know, relatively cheaper compared to the others. Again, on these boxes right here, the cheapest one on eBay that I see right now is 180 bucks, but I have a 12-month price target of this one at 500 bucks. Whoops, sorry about that. There we go. I do have a price target on this one of $500 on Crucible of War with a 24 to 36 month price target of $2,500. I think a lot of people, this to me would be the least valuable investment, not only because it's cheaper, but because this thing is starting to catch on like wildfire, thanks to people like, Rudy from Alpha Investments, thanks to people like Gary V out there, and a slew of others. If you just literally go on YouTube and type it in, you'll see all the internet personalities that are talking about this game. I think it's just a very very interesting product. And what I also feel is going to happen here, and I just want to talk about, before I go on, I just want to show you the other website in which also sells the product if you're interested. And again, there's probably so many on the internet. You could do your own, again, due diligence and everything, but I want to talk about TCG Player. And if you literally type in like flesh and blood, and you type in like arcane Rising, well, let's see what happens right here. Arcane Rising. So right now, if you just type in Arcane Rising, TCG Player, like trading card game player, all one word.com is the website I'm talking about. And if you go into Booster Box, first edition, right over here, first edition is alpha. You could see right here that they're selling it, maybe a lot cheaper than eBay in some cases. Sometimes they're not. But right over here, you have some boxes at, $440, $450, things like that, which in my opinion are very, very fair prices. For this one on Arcane Rising, I just, recently took a you know, a decently large position. I just took 100 of these boxes recently. So I did purchase 100 of these boxes just as a disclaimer, and there is a good chance I buy more, just so we're clear, of this Arcane Rising First Edition box alone. So, yeah, just keep in mind when you type them in here, like you have to type in, so you would type in welcome to Wrath, and then it would show you a bunch of things. There is a cheaper way of playing this. So, for example, if you just click like booster pack, you can buy an individual booster pack as opposed to a box. It's just important for me that it's left sealed. The key is to keep it sealed and in as pristine condition as humanly possible. For me personally, I it's one of those things where, my kids are going to be getting some of these boxes. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably buying and selling them along the way for the ride. To me, even in 3 to 6 months, I mean, this thing is going to, in my opinion, continue to explode towards my desired direction. I think you're going to see sort of, you might see some of my price targets hit by the 6 month mark. That would be rather bold, but again, it's one of those games that I am extremely confident in. It's the first 10 out of 10 conviction play in which I am giving out this year. I don't give many high conviction ideas, but this is it. And it's something that's going to transform the industry. It's going to be something, in my opinion, that appreciates like fine art. And if this thing actually does become the big four and break into that category, which it seems like a lot of websites are feeling the same way. A lot of people like the channel Fireballs out there, and you could take a look. I don't know if they sell them on Card Kingdom yet for those people in EU and Card Market, but I will say right now that this is something that I do want to pass down to my kids. It's like one of those things. Like, you ever get a Patek Philippe? Any of you out there? You get sort of this Patek Philippe, and it's like, you ever see the commercial for Patek Philippe, and it's like you hear some guy with some like British accent, which means he has to have a high IQ, obviously, because of his accent. And it's like, you never truly own a Patek Philippe. You just hold it for the next generation. And the truth is, that's the way I feel about this product. And I think it's in an early enough stage where the opportunity is sky high. But with that being said, let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed my number one investment idea on this Newsbeat show special. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend and a wonderful holiday season.